Faith, integrity, relationships, joy. Are values on which Simone's Kids was built. We exist so a child can feel love for the first time. We exist to save children from the effects of poverty. In 10 years, Simone's Kids has served 2,179,728 meals. Baptized over 200 students and faculty. Created 84 new jobs for the community. Built a primary school from the ground up that's now ranked 8th out of 650 schools in the district. Graduated 43 students from high school in a country where only 19% of students attend high school at all. Built a sustainable giving program that has 362 individuals on a monthly basis. Raised $2.5 million. Given over 85% of all funding toward program cost. Poured into the local economy by paying teachers, construction workers, farmers, and medical personnel to run our programs. In 10 years, we have made a difference. Children's lives are changing. It's time to celebrate.
Children are likely to live up to what you believe of them. Those are the words of former First Lady, Mrs. Lady Bird Johnson. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for our 10-year anniversary. I have the pleasure of being your host tonight. My name is Mason Satterfield, and I'm coming to you from Uganda. I wish I was live and was in real time with you guys, but to tell you the truth, it's 2 a.m. here, and so I'm sound asleep under the covers. But what I did was pre-record these so that I could still be your host and be a part of this evening. This is truly a celebration of all that God has done in this ministry and how He's impacted the lives of all of our children here in Uganda over the past 10 years. To our online audience, we want to thank you guys for tuning in and joining us. We hope you enjoy the evening. Tonight we're going to have a wonderful meal. We're going to have some great entertainment from comedian Dustin Nickerson. And we're also going to get to hear the heart and vision of Simone's Kids by none other than our president and founder, Simone. If you don't mind bowing your heads, I'd like to pray before we get this evening started. Dear God, we come before you this evening with so much to be thankful for. I want to thank you for Simone's Kids and that 10 years ago you put a vision in her heart to make this ministry what it is now. I want to pray over this evening. I want to pray for the meal that everyone's about to enjoy. And I just want to pray for continued blessings for this organization. God, as we enter into this special time together, I just pray that you would bless each person who decided to join us tonight. I pray for continued blessings over this ministry, and I pray for continued financial breakthrough for what we want to accomplish in the years to come. We thank you for all that you are, for how far you've carried us and how far you continue to take us. I just pray once again for blessings over this evening and each person that's here. We love you and we pray these things in your name. Amen.
Simone's Kids is giving hope back to the children and community of Nakazake, Uganda. The community we work in is one of extreme poverty. The pattern of hopelessness for our students might have continued for generations, just like it had before. But Simone's Kids is intervening. At God's Hope Schools, we are offering a way out for these children. We're giving them the opportunity to break the cycle of poverty by providing them with a hope for the future that only God can give. Simone's Kids offers education at 3 levels through God's Hope Primary School, God's Hope Secondary School, and God's Hope Vocational School. Simone's Kids provides scholarships for students to attend our schools, and the scholarships are based on what the student needs. Some families are able to provide some supplies, and some aren't able to contribute anything, but every student receives the same education. Through the support of our faithful donors, we're serving over 1,000 students every day. We provide healthy meals to fill hungry bellies so that our students can attend school ready to learn. Thorough medical care in our clinics ensures that sickness and disease doesn't prevent a student from regularly attending class. Most importantly, we provide sound Christian discipleship to make an eternal impact in the lives of our students and their families. Our goal is that every student will attend our schools through completion and graduate with a vocational certificate. This vocational training gives a boost to the local economy and provides our students with a practical means to support themselves in their own business or provide income during university studies. We offer training in welding, sewing, construction, mechanics, and hairdressing, with plans to expand to other trades as well. God's Hope Schools offers children in Uganda practical and sustainable hope for their future, not only for the child but for the family, and Uganda as well. As each child grows through our program, they're growing a stronger community in Nakazake, and the effects will spread outward. We believe God values the people of Uganda and has a plan for every one of their lives. Will you help us do more?
See what happens when you believe in children? I hope that video touched your heart as much as it touched mine. Now it's time for some fun. I promised you guys a comedian. Here he is. Let me introduce to you the entertainment for tonight. A Seattle native now suffering in Southern California, Dustin Nickerson is an in-demand comic on the rise. He's currently touring the country and was recently featured by Kevin Hart on Comedy Central's Heart of the City. Dustin has also been seen on Laughs on Fox, the PBS Comedy Hour, Hulu, and can regularly be heard on Sirius Radio XM, Rooftop Comedy, and The Darren Streblow Show. He's also the host of hit podcast Don't Make Me Come Back There, a funny podcast about family. Dustin describes himself as the world's most average person, but he's far from it when on stage. He brings you into his life through his humor and the struggles about parenting, marriage, and being generally annoyed by most people. At just 34 years old, Dustin has been married for 15 years and he has 3 kids. This helps make Dustin truly one of the most unique voices on the comedy scene. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dustin Nickerson.
Thank you everybody for having me. I just want to let you know that I'm so grateful to be here, and someone introducing me from Uganda is required on all of my shows actually, so that wasn't just for tonight. This is wonderful. I need to update my bio. I am 36 as of today, today is my birthday, as a matter of fact. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with my closest friends and family. This is just how you dream it. This is wonderful. I'm happy to be working. It has been such a weird year for all of us. I think we can all agree that. I'm from Seattle. Thank you for the rain. This is is that someone from Seattle? And born in 84. See that woo right there? That's seasonal depression is what that is. That's the woo of somebody that escaped like me. We're at Andy at the end of Shawshank. Good job, buddy. I will take the rain here anytime. I'm a West Coast guy, but I've always very much had a connection to the South for a couple reasons. One, I had a very unique childhood. I was raised by a single dad, and I was raised redneck. I have seen my dad cry 2 times ever, and both those times involved the Daytona 500. So it was him in my house and my Uncle Butch. Whatever you just saw when I said Uncle Butch, that's him right there. He had one son. He named him Tater. That's my family right there. So I vibe well. And you don't really know your house is different until you start mixing groups. Mine was my first sleepover. I'm 6 years old, so excited. Little first grader. My friends come over and they're like, hey, Dustin, we're going to stay up late and we're going to go into the bathroom and look in the mirror and we're going to say Bloody Mary 3 times. And Bloody Mary's going to come out at night. And I'm a little first grader like, no, Bloody Mary's come out in the morning. Thank you. So I'll take this rain any day of the week because I can't deal with your humidity here. I don't know how you do it. You look at your little app on the phone and it tells you the weather and it's like, okay, so it's 92, but it feels like jockstrap. Okay. Lovely. I'm really excited to go. I've had this theory that part of the reason there are so many Christians in the South is because it's easier to believe in hell here. It's not that hard of a concept for you guys to grasp, you know? You're like, oh man, you need to repent and believe in Jesus or you're going to go to hell. What's that like? August? No thank you. No thank you. So this is great, man. I live in California. I do not like California. I live there for work, or I used to work there. Now it's all shut down. School is illegal. It's a lot of fun out there. There's a lot of like weird little things. Like you sometimes you want to believe in government and they're like, hey, schools are closed, but strip clubs are open. What are we doing? Hey, you can't have a party, but Party City is open. What are we doing, you guys? So we're still doing like the online school, you know, the virtual school. And it's a challenge. I understand where people are coming from. It's so challenging, but I'm supposed to educate my kids. I cannot help them in any way. My little daughter, she's in first grade. That's when you learn how to read. I was like, you just might not learn this. My oldest, my 13-year-old boy, he's in middle school. He asked me what an integer was. I'm out. I have no idea. I got all sweaty. I told him it was the bluish purple color in the rainbow. I don't know. So this is good. This is my first indoor gig in a while. We've been for a lot of outdoor shows. Yeah, that's what. All you have to do is come to Alabama. Here we go. What do you guys quarantine for like an hour? You're like, we're over it. You guys missed one lunch, and you're like, we're good. Such a weird time. So many weird, different kind of gigs. There are a lot of comedians. I did a drive-in. It's one thing to like have somebody walk out of a comedy show. It's quite another to hear them turn on their engine and squeal out of the parking lot. The gig I did right before that, this is what it is I did a Christian youth camp because work has been slow and I've been saying yes to a few extra things. That's not a good gig. None of that is good. It's not a good energy for comedy. It's just a bunch of sweaty virgins in the woods. You know, I was there. I feel like best case scenario, I got COVID. That's best case. I should be good at that job too. I should be uniquely qualified for that job because I used to be a youth pastor, which I know you know from the second you saw me. I have strong youth pastor energy to me. I know that I'd look like I'd be good at ping pong and leading a devotional, and I am. I'm good at both. But I was very bad at that job because I was a middle school pastor, and I just don't like middle schoolers. I couldn't do it. I was like, I like my son is 13. I was like, I love you. I would do anything for you. I would die for you. I don't like the way you feel. Like, I don't like the way I feel when you're near me. That's all. Why am I pensive? It's just a weird energy, the middle school boy, you know? I don't really trust it. It's all gangly. Don't enjoy that. The smell of a middle school boy. You smell sour. You smell like behind an Applebee's. I'm going to have you baptized just for the shower. So it's fine. We're doing our best with everything. You know, it's been such a strange year for all of us, regardless of where you stand. I got to admit, there are some things coming into the world, though. Like, I'm not one for a lot of silver linings, you know, but like, I have to admit, there are some things in the world that I enjoy right now. For example, my favorite form of entertainment is Facebook fights. Never been a better time to be alive. For Facebook fights. People wake up every day and they're like, I'm going to tear apart my family today. I've had too many friends for too long. It ends today. So there are just like, in general, you try and make the most of it, but it's challenging. These people who I see just get online and fight all day. I was like, do you not have a job or respond? I'm 36. I am married. I have kids. I don't have time for this. And I understand 30s is not old, but it is the start of old. Like I got a little young in me and a little old. I'm in transition, Like I still get excited about concerts, but I also get excited about Kohl's cash. I'm in transition, you understand me? Little bit of both. And it's this weird age purgatory. Well, you don't really relate to anybody in your 30s, Like I want to be old. I have aches and pains now. That's a real thing in my life. I have these aches and pains, but I can't bring them up to an actual old person. They're insulted. I'll be like, yesterday I exercised and my knees really hurt. And a real old person will be like, oh, really? Your knees hurt? Is that your original pair of knees? You're like, touche, all right. So it's just this, but I can get hurt. I play basketball once a week. I texted a friend. I used to play basketball once a week before organized sports are illegal in California right now. I used to play, and I texted a friend my age and said, hey, are you going to be here this week? And he said, no. I threw out my back, and I said, how? And he said, folding a sheet. And I wasn't surprised. I was mad. I said, come on, man, you're 35. You know you can't be doing that by yourself anymore. You free soloed a sheet? Are you insane? People tell you things about aging, but they don't always they give you little hints. Most of it is that I feel like everything gets a little harder. Like health in general becomes much harder. Your goals change. Like in your 20s, you say things like, I want to look hot naked. And in your 30s, you're like, I want to look pretty good dressed. That's why clothing is so important as you get older. You're just trying to cover up, You have those moments where you look at your outfits, you're like, I need a new shirt or a new outfit. And then you get in the dressing room and you're like, this was a body issue. I'm just going to wear a sleeping bag now. That's the best that I can do. Your whole goals change, I'm not even trying to get in a good shape anymore. That's not realistic. I'm just trying to get in a shape that nobody will comment on, Hey, Dustin, is that guy in bad shape? No. Is he in good shape? No. He's in a human shape is what he is. It was very hard during quarantine, too, which is still, pretty active out where I live now. And I remember I had a personal training friend of mine, and I asked him, I was like, hey, man, what do you recommend? What should I do? And he goes, for a guy like you, already insulting, he goes, for a guy like you, you can just do, a lot of body weight exercises. That's so insulting when you think about it. You're like, Dustin, you are so fat and out of shape. If you just lifted your arm, buddy. That's all you need to do right there. Just lift your arm. And you know what? If that's too much for you, use your other arm to do it. It's been such a wild time, man. Obviously it's ramped up and it's a very tense time right now. And what we all can agree is that nobody's listening. Nobody will listen to the other side. The masks were a good example of that. I'm not here to make any kind of statement on that, but you have to agree, even if you were super pro mask, that the communication regarding masks was inconsistent. It changed. It kept changing, right? Remember at the beginning, hey, everybody wear your mask no matter what. Just kidding, we're out of masks. We have no masks left. Everybody, we need you to make masks, as a matter of fact. And then we have enough masks. Put your mask on. Everybody wear your mask no matter what, unless you're 6 feet apart. Actually, make that 12 feet apart. You know what? Wear your mask all the time unless you're working out. And actually wear it when you're working out. There is nothing more important to do right now than working out. That's the most important thing you can do. Also, the gyms are closed. You are killing me right now. People just get so preachy about it, and I can't, I like to listen, but I admit there are things that, when people get overly preachy about their thing, it's a big turnoff, You just go, hey, if you want to have your thing, that's fine, just don't get in your face about it. And to me, the most offensive of them is not politics. To me, the most offensive of the preachy group are the people into essential oils. You guys familiar with essential oils? Yeah, some of you are twitching for your vials right now. Don't you dare. Don't you dare, buddy. I got the vaccine in my pocket right here. I will baptize you in peppermint. Don't say a word. Listen, if you're not familiar with essential oils, I'll fill you in. It's this small cult that thinks whatever your life problem is can be fixed by their magic gypsy oil. That's all. And you hear it in their pitch when they sell it to you. You're like, okay, so just so I'm clear, I rub this on my neck and that'll be good for my skin and my dog's anxiety? Oh, okay. Oh, it's not supported anywhere in the medical community? Perfect. Oh, and it's a pyramid scheme? Keeps getting better. Those were the first Facebook fights I ever saw. I got off Facebook because of essential oils, because I would share a problem and look for solutions, and it would always be that you're like, hey, you know what? I got this kind of upset stomach. Well, have you tried essential oils? You know, I'm kind of nervous about the political climate. Well, have you tried essential oils? You know what? Actually, I'm grieving the loss of a close loved one. Well, have you tried essential oils? Huh? We have a resurrection blend. Maybe. Diffuse the funeral, see what happens. I don't know. I don't have time for that, man. I'm just like, it's like I said, your life changes, and it's fun to like be out traveling a little bit again. It's a little different out there, you know, because there's always been this segment of the population that would wear masks on planes. There would always be. Now it's required, but now I used to be very judgmental. It used to be anytime I used to see someone wearing a mask on a plane, everything in me would just want to run up and sneeze on the back of their neck. Like, not to be mean, but just prove my point. Achoo, you're not safe. I've been farting this whole flight. You're not safe. And I used to be like, that's not even effective, right? Like, you have to embrace germs. That's good for your immunities. I go to the hotel, I put the remote in my mouth. Embrace germs. Hold out for my kids like a salt lick. Get a taste, get a taste. I'm happy to be out traveling again, because flying has just gotten very comfortable for me, because I fly enough now that I get the free upgrade to first class, which is nice. That is not a money thing. Not only is it not a money thing, like, I'm very nervous up there because I feel like they might be able to smell the pour on me. I remember the first time I was like, I Googled, can you wear sweatpants in first class? I didn't know the rules, but then I got up there and I realized that first class is not really even that much nicer. It's not meant to be that much nicer. It's not about amenities, and it's not about comfort. It's about one thing and one thing only: power. That's why they put you down first, put a drink in your hand, and let you judge this parade of peasants as they walk by. Shut the curtain, shut the curtain. And now I'm addicted to that power. Like, if I can't get first class, I have to take the window seat, because that's the second most power you can get on a plane. You realize it at takeoff when you're like, oh, you guys are enjoying the view? Not anymore, you're not. Oh, you're napping? I gotta pee. Everybody up. Everybody up! Now handle my trash and give it to my other servants. I can't be seen extending my elbow out here. Your whole relationship with money does change a bit, you know. Like, I'm so grateful that there are folks like being generous right now during trying times. It's a weird thing, because what I've noticed a lot is that you feel like very judged sometimes by your peers, you know. Like, that's why people like buy clothes they can't afford and cars they can't afford. You're posturing because you can feel judged. Like, I love to thrift shop, and in your 20s you can get away with thrift shopping. People are like, that's cool. Dustin likes a good deal. He's a little bit eccentric. And in your 30s, they're like, Dustin lost his job. You know? You get put on a prayer list being seen in a Goodwill in your 30s. And we all make exceptions. Like, we all have exceptions of what we're willing to spend on. My one that I'm willing is expensive coffee. I can't help it. I'm sorry. It's the raised in Seattle in me. I can't, I know it's a good coffee shop when I go in and the barista hates me. I'm like, this is going to be good right here. This is a good sign. If the bitterness is in the coffee and in their heart, I'm going to like this. But I won't buy anything else in there. I went into one recently. You have a couple nice ones here in Birmingham, actually. I went into one recently. They tried to sell me a tote bag for $60. And they tried to tell me that this was a good deal. They're like, no, it's very high quality. It's very high quality. You have to feel the lining. Feel the lining. I was like, is it lined with $59? Because if so, it's an okay deal. Most judged, though, I feel, is when I drive my car. So I drive a crappy car. I could probably afford to buy a nicer car, but if you were raised without money, you kind of know, like, you milk everything you can out of a vehicle. You know, you're like, I drive this until it catches on fire, and then I finish that trip. I mean, the flames haven't hit me, let's be reasonable. But most embarrassing thing about this is my window doesn't work on my side. So when I take it to a drive-through, it's a whole mess. I don't know if you've ever seen this idiot or been this idiot. I shouldn't be allowed. I should not be allowed in the drive-through because I don't stop at the pickup window. I have to drive a little past the pickup window so I can open my door and angle back. And you don't realize you lose all your dignity in 45 degrees. You're like, don't judge me, all right? I fly first class. Don't judge me. The last time that I'm at a Starbucks, I'm reaching back to grab the drink, and as I grab the drink, the barista goes, hey, do you need a receipt? Really? Do I look like a guy who's tracking his finances that closely? Do I need a receipt? I shouldn't even be here right now. This is clearly a splurge purchase. Dave Ramsey would be furious if he saw me here right now. I Kelly Blue Booked it. You know, you look up the value of your vehicle. It said it was worth $300. Should have just said LOL at that point. $300, that's a joke. That means when I take that vehicle to Costco and I load up everything that I've purchased, I have double the value of the vehicle. This is the time to steal it right now. I probably feel a little bit older than, a lot of 36-year-olds, but some of that is because, like when you're married and you have kids, that stuff grows you up a little bit. Me and my wife have been married for 16 years. We got married when I was really young. Yeah, I was 19 when we got married. Yeah, and a lot of time when people hear that, like especially in California, they're like, Jesus, and I'm like, yeah, that's why. That's exactly right. 19 is fine to get married. I was just like very immature, which is easy to imagine because this is mature me. This is the aged version of me. Like, I used to think it was hilarious to write on my wife's grocery list, butt cream. Because when I was 19, that was this hilarious imaginary thing that I made up. And now I'm in my 30s, and I still write butt cream, but not ironically. I write butt cream, and then parentheses, I put extra strength. And when you've been married long enough, like one of the nice things about aging and being with somebody for a while is you start to have a very realistic view on everything. Me and my wife are very happy, very happy. We're also very jaded. Not towards each other, just towards marriage in general. I know this because the last wedding we went to, we were giggling during the vows. We couldn't take it seriously because that doesn't mean anything. We know that in our hearts, right? Because that's a wedding, not a marriage. A marriage is tomorrow when they get to the airport and she goes, I forgot my passport. Now you're married. That's the ceremony right there, Today till death do us part. Tomorrow I'm going to Mexico alone. You had one job. That's all very good and very healthy. That's why the best metaphor for a marriage is a marathon, right? I mean, look at the face of a marathon runner. That's marriage. They are focused, but not always happy. There's a lot of emotions going on, right? Like their knees hurt, they got their runner's high, their nipples are bleeding. There's a lot going on. One of the big things, like people get asked for advice a lot, and I take that as a compliment. When somebody asks you for advice, they see something they admire, and I always tell them the same thing. I go, listen, if you really want to know who you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with, ignore everything positive about them. That doesn't help you. We all like the positive things about people. You have to look at the most annoying thing about a person, the thing that drives everybody else crazy. And if you can stand that thing, then that's your soulmate. That's how you know, honestly. If you're in a relationship with somebody and they say espresso, and you don't want to murder them, then marry them right then and there. I do. There's no X in that word. You are uncultured and illiterate is what you are. But that's how I know me and my wife are for each other. We can stand each other's things. My wife can't say the word salsa correctly. She says salsa. Like, may I have some chips and salsa? You feel that tension right there? I've said it twice. You all hate her already. You can keep her, buddy. People they give you all this advice, and that's good. But one of the things that people talk about, hey, it's important to like the same things, and that's kind of true. But really, what it's important is to hate the same things. Just to get together and let your love grow through bitterness and spite. It's really helpful. It's a strong bond. We complain about the same things. We don't like when young married couples or couples in general try and show off the little things that they do and they think are so romantic and pivotal to their relationship. Every night we still fall asleep together cuddling. We cuddle every night. You know why you cuddle early on in a relationship? Because you're still afraid they're going to leave. They're not cuddling. You're holding on is what you're doing. This isn't romance. This is a hostage situation. You know what the most happily married couple looks like in bed? Could you be further away? Further away. A married couple invented the California king because the king mattress didn't suffice. Further away. We share a blanket. No, I don't want to share a blanket with you. I got my own farts to deal with over here. I spent the last half an hour cocooning myself so they don't leak out to your side. We just can't. It just, some of it is like the friend stuff too that you're just like, oh, I don't know, man. Someone recently sent us a baby shower invitation for their 4th child. Exactly. I mean, you're just being greedy at that point. 4th child, what do you want me to get you? A book on family planning? Is that what you want? Is it a pop-up book? No, it's a pull-out book, Steve, all right? All right. I like seeing you look around the room. Simone, are they laughing? Yeah, they are. I already got paid. I'm fine. Just try. That stuff will bring you together. And you got to do your best, man. Like, if you're going to be like really in it with somebody, you're going to have kids with them, you got to have that as strong a foundation as you can, man. Modern parenting has all these challenges that were not there before. The phone is a big one. My son wants a phone so bad. And he's 13. He's like, Dad, I'm like a 13-year-old boy. I'm like, I feel so weird because I don't have a phone. I was like, oh no, that's because you're a 13-year-old boy. Like, that's not related to the phone. I could give you the new phone right now. You would feel so weird all the time. But I see the temptation as a parent because you can stay in touch with him, and that's really nice. We didn't have that when I was a kid. My dad just assumed I would come home at night, and I usually did. But I like to stay in touch with my son while I'm on the road, and sometimes he'll text me from my wife's phone, but I don't always know who I'm hearing from. Because recently I got a text from Sweetheart that said, I'm sleeping at Pete's house tonight. Oh, I'm sorry, what's that? I respond, who in the world is Pete? And it says, don't worry, his dad's home. What's happening right now? There's all this like hot debate too, on discipline. Discipline's a really, a hot topic. And it's one thing if you spank, but if you spank, one thing that drives me crazy is when you act all high and righteous about it, and you act like you're doing something all holy. You hear this one a lot. We discipline, but we never discipline in anger. What? What are you, discipline and apathy? What are you talking about? We don't hit our kids when we're mad. Are you crazy? That's why you hit kids, because you're mad. And you know what? That's the right emotion to match the action. You want to ruin a child? Spank them with a smile on your face. Do that. You just created a monster. Your whole perspective changes once you're a parent, man. It changes everything. I'm really pro therapy. If you got issues, go work them out. But I am a little more skeptical now as a dad because I feel like if you're going to go talk to a therapist about the childhood trauma that your parents allegedly put you through, then your parents should be there too to tell the whole story. So we're not just working on your memory from when you were 6. One time my dad grabbed my arm for no reason at all. He grabbed my arm and he just flung me across the room. And then you turn to the dad, he's like, you were smothering the baby. Your sister thinks I'm a hero in this story. You got to do whatever it takes to work. That's my big theory on parenting is every kid's different. Every season is different. We lied to our kids for years. We made them think there was a program if they were bad enough they could get sent to called BKIM, which stood for Bad Kids in Mexico. It was so effective for years. They get all scared. I want to go to BKIM. And we would milk it too. We'd be on the bus. We'd be on the freeway and see a bus of kids going by. There they go. There they go. That's what happens when you ask for Pokemon cards in Target. There they go. My son turned 8 or 9. There's no way. There is no way that BKIM is real. I was like, yeah, it is. Ask your brother. And he's like, I don't have a brother. I'm exactly. It's just so important though. You gotta have that bond. One of the things too that me and my wife I cannot stand people not being good at their job. I can't, or just even trying at their job. I went into the doctor recently, I had a knee injury, and he did all this science, all the different tests and stuff, and I was like, okay, doc, what's up? What's the injury? And he's like, well, I'm not really sure. I go, what do you mean you're not sure? And he goes, well, it's not exactly a science. I feel like this is exactly a science. Is medicine art now? Is that what we're doing? On the lower level too, it's very hard to eat healthy on the road. So a lot of time if I see like a Panera bread, that's a big one for me. Panera bread, I'll go in because I like eating oatmeal because I'm a grown-up. It's a sign of being a grown-up. I actually prefer the oatmeal. Give me the oatmeal, my little morning story. Like I love it. So, and I went into one place, but it was 1 p.m. and that's comedy breakfast hours. That's about when I'm up and around and moving and ready to eat. And I go in and I go, hey, can I get an oatmeal? And they're like, oh, well, we don't serve oatmeal after noon. I was like, I feel like we could figure this out. Did your hot water guy go home? Is that what? I feel like, you know what? Tell you what, give me a cup of tea, hold the tea, add oats. Can we get that? You go through enough, but I talk a lot about parenting, and parenting is hard, but it's not bad. Those are different things. Some moments are amazing. My son's a little jock. I love going to his games. The only thing that I like watching more than my kids are watching the kids that are there against their will. Ugh. If you have not had the chance to watch a child be forced into youth sports participation, what a gift. What? And there is a kid on my son's basketball team named TJ. TJ does not sit on the bench. TJ lays on the bench. And whenever they call his number, it's a big dramatic scene. He flops onto the ground, rolls out to center court, flips off his parents. I love TJ. I can't get enough of this kid. Every time he's in the game, I'm like, yeah, TJ. I have a foam finger. It's just the middle finger. I love TJ. It's because he's a wild card. I don't know what he's going to do when he's in the game. I have seen 1 million kids make or miss a basket. I have seen one kid bite a ref. And that's worth getting up for on a Saturday morning. At the end of last season, his best moment. You guys have all seen like the viral YouTube moment where the kid who's not very good gets his first basket of the season. So they're trying to create that moment for TJ. They put him in the game. Last seconds, last quarter, last game of the season. The defense clears. They give it to TJ. All eyes on TJ. He catches it. 5, 4, 3. This psychopath does not shoot the basketball. He licks the basketball and then he kicks it into the stands. This is the best moment of my life. I'm so happy in this moment. And then he turns and addresses the crowd like that scene from Gladiator. Like, are you not entertained? Is this not why you're here? I was like, this is why I'm here, TJ. My kid's not even playing today, so I'm here for it. So there are moments. There are great moments. I'm a proud father. I enjoy it. You just got to enjoy the little things when they come along. Like I love when my kids are accidentally inappropriate. I love it so much. You know when they say words that they don't know the meaning to, you know, and it's just a little moment. It's a little gift from above. Like a while back, we're doing some yard work. All right, and our 2 kids are outside, and they get in this tug of war back and forth over the garden hoe. My son emerges the victor of this little battle, lifts it up in the air, starts singing and dancing, going, I got this hoe. I got this hoe, and I just step back. It's like, is this real life right now? Like, I feel like I'm cashing a dream check. This is special. What's happening? It was this powerful magnetic moment that everybody got sucked into because my daughter goes, Mommy, that's not fair. I want a hoe too. And this is when I realized I was the only one outside of the moment because my wife, I swear, she goes, no, our family has one hoe. And you two will learn to share it. You will share it. It's a strong word, strong word. But it is hard. It is hard. I'll tell you one last story. It is hard because, like, kids, because I talk about the therapy and stuff, you wonder how things will, like, you know, always be interpreted. Like, what we forget about our own child is we forget that kids can be mean, and they can be mean in very vulnerable moments, and they can do things to you that you forget how to handle that moment, or there's no textbook on it. Like, I get really car sick, and the last time that I got car sick in front of my kids, not only were they not supportive, they were mocking me. They were doing impersonations of me puking as I was still actively puking. Just in the back of the car, I'm dead. Blah. Blah. Is he crying? What a loser. Blah. Blah. I don't know how to handle this situation. I just go instinct. I go, look at me. You look at me in the eyes. You need to know that of everyone in this family, your mom is the only one that I picked. All right, I can feel that split the room a little bit. Because some of you are offended, and the rest you're like, I need to write that down. That is amazing. You guys, thank you so much for having me. Simone, thank you for having me. This is a lot of fun. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Maya Angelou once said, "Laugh as much as possible, always laugh. It's the sweetest thing one can do for oneself and one's fellow human beings." I don't know if she knew Dustin Nickerson, but Dustin, thank you for bringing that laughter to us tonight. We really appreciate it. Now I have the privilege of introducing to you our founder and president, Mrs. Simone Puccinelli. Simone has a heart for children in need of love. From the beginning, one of Simone's missions has been to love those who are unloved. Simone got to Uganda over 10 years ago, and she found a group of children who were left alone, uncared for, and living in this broken world with no hope. She saw an opportunity to change that. Now today, Simone still runs Simone's Kids with that same heart and passion that she had 10 years ago when she founded this organization in her dorm room. Simone is now married with 2 beautiful adopted boys. Simone travels over to Uganda often to check on us and make sure that programs are operating at peak performance. And she also wants to keep donors close to the cause. Simone has been asked to share her story all around the world, and now she's here with us tonight. We're all excited to hear her speak, to hear her vision, and to be inspired by what she has to say. Please help me welcome Simone Puccinelli.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited that you all were able to be here tonight. And I'm so excited, even though 2020 has made things very different, that we still are able to gather and celebrate 10 years of ministry. You know, every year around the New Year's, everyone decides on a New Year's resolution. And I don't know about you, but those never really worked for me. And so I decided one year to try to make it a little simpler. I decided that I would decide to work on my words, and I would choose one word and focus on either removing that word from my vocabulary or adding it. And you know, Scripture talks about how the death and life are in the power of the tongue. So I believed it would be a powerful thing to work on. In 2019, I chose to work on the word worry. I decided that I was not going to say the word worry anymore. And every time I said it, I would remind myself that I wasn't supposed to worry. You know, Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ." At the end of 2019, God brought me my second child. On a Sunday evening, the phone rang, and we were told of a little boy that was going to be born in a couple of weeks that needed a family. All of 2019, I had time and time again to worry. As many of you may know, my first child, Chandler, is adopted. And soon after Chandler was adopted, we found out that God had brought Chandler because the next phase of my life, we would learn that we couldn't try to have a child because of some kidney issues. And so when Chandler was growing up, we were wanting another child, but Michael was attending medical school, which has no income. And so we could not afford to do the actually trying to adopt. And so we just went to prayer again and again. And on that Sunday evening, when we received the phone call, my hand was shaking when I called back, but it led to a series of up and downs until December 5th, when our perfect second child was placed in our arms. But it came without any effort except for prayer. 2019 taught me the power of turning worry into prayer. A prayer thankfulness that turns our worry into contentment, which is that peace we all longed for. A peace that I would need for 2020, a peace that we all need for our whole life. In 2020, I continued working on my words. I decided to eliminate a whole phrase, "I am too busy," which was probably one of the biggest jokes because literally everything and everyone stopped doing everything. You know, 2020 has had a tornado amount of events, emotionally high-strung events that have left us very exhausted. And, sorry, hold on a second. I've never used the iPad when I spoke before. But you guys all love me, so it's okay. And so these events made me recognize more than ever that we are really all interconnected. And it can feel at times that we're so distant from Uganda. Even when I'm here and I've been there so many times, it can feel so like distance and that it doesn't matter. And I've realized that that's not true. And Martin Luther King Jr. said, in a real sense, all life is interrelated. All men are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until what I ought to be. And this is an interrelated structure. And I think those words he said were true, and that we're learning that more than ever this year. You know, missionaries not long ago, they used to have to get on a ship and sail for 3 months all the way to Africa, and then they would live there or wherever they were going until they died. And now we can get on a plane in 24 hours. We can be in another country. We can be in Uganda. In 24 hours, you can be holding the hand of a dying child that's dying from a disease that is completely preventable, curable, but there's no medical care. You can watch children harvest dirty water because they have no access to clean water. You can be in a village and watch abandoned children walk around, look for somewhere to sleep at night. And you can find schools with no power, with no water, with no books. You can find children without shoes, adults without shoes. Everyone sitting here tonight and watching online is connected with that world. And we are so close. And I wanted to remind you that tonight, that what you do is going to directly affect what happens there and happens around the world. It will indirectly affect you, and it will directly affect you. 4 years ago, Simone's Kids launched a vocational program at our high school. The vocation program trains students in a trade skill so that when they graduate our high school, they can attain a job if they're unable to go to university. We currently offer tailoring, hairdressing, welding, brick and cement work, and mechanics. Tonight, Simone's Kids wants to raise $350,000 to purchase land, 42 acres, to build a larger facility and expand our vacation school and its campus. This $350,000 is the beginning of a $2.5 million campaign we will launch. The project has planned to purchase a new property, build out of a new vocation school, a new high school, and take our current property, which is a primary school and high school, and turn it into one primary school. In the primary school, we will be able to double the students we currently have. Expanding the program allows us to take in more children from the community, and it will also allow us to offer more trades. So we're finding it with 5 trades. That's awesome, and we celebrate that. But we're finding our students don't all fit into 5 categories. So we would really like to expand that into 10 or 15 categories, depending on how much we can raise. But I do want to encourage you that Simone's Kids has always had a value of quality over quantity. And that's what we're focusing on here, is increasing our quality of care for each student in our program. Livingstone is a student at our high school, and Livingstone has a unique story because he was unable to attend school at a younger age and came to us older. And he struggled really, really a lot to catch up, but we got him through primary school. And after he finished primary school, the leadership staff sat down and decided that we would only put him in the vocation program instead of high school because it would just be a little bit grueling for him. Well, Livingstone decided to do welding. And after the first 2 years of training, he scored on the state exam to pass the certificate. He scored the top score in the entire country. He was offered many job offers, including one at a university. He has a job offer at a university to be an instructor. A trade will give him and other students tools to provide income for their families and break that generational poverty. You know, you can listen to us, to me, talk all night about the impact we've had in Uganda, but I want to show you a video of what it's impacted for the children out of their own voices. So why don't you guys listen in as they tell you who Jesus is.
Jesus means different things to our lives. We want to tell you what Jesus means to each of our lives.
Jesus is our
hope,
helper,
savior,
redeemer,
friend, hero,
provider, counselor,
protector, father, commander,
promoter.
all in all, way.
Jesus is my life.
Jesus makes me happy all the time. Whether I get annoyed, I cry, like Jesus makes me happy. When my friends are not here with me, like when they go away from me, Jesus is always on my side and always keeps me.
I'm always happy. I'm not worried where I'll go after I die. Just know that I'll be with him in the heaven. So that gives me hope, like I'll meet him one day.
He's my life. He's my life. He's my protector. I've been protecting me in everything. And then sometimes he's my commander.
He encourages me whenever I'm being discouraged. He tells me I'm so precious to the world whenever people tell me I have no value. And he guides me whenever I'm lost.
I love Jesus because he healed my parents, like my father and my mother.
I call him my best friend because he doesn't disappoint me. He's always there for me.
Jesus is my savior because he died for my sins.
I cannot say that I've done this for myself, reaching here. Jesus has given me grace and blessings, professing good friends, good school where I can find those who advise me what to do, giving me good education.
I'm not this age because of myself, but because of Jesus. I'm healthy because of Jesus, and I'm breathing because of Jesus, and I am happy, as you see.
I have faced a lot of challenges. I have been abused. I have been teased. I have been abandoned by some parents, by some friends of mine, but Jesus is always there for me.
Jesus is my friend because he gives us life.
Has never disappointed me at all. When friends left, he was there for me, comforted me. And that's why I trust him more than anybody else. His grace never ceases. He always fights for me. Whenever I call him, he's always there. Has made a way where there seems to be no way.
There are things which are self-explanatory, just like the air that we breathe, day by day, morning by morning, but he still provides that life for us because we don't pay anything to earn that air that we breathe in every morning.
Does things that no friend can do for me. He's always there for me. He pays everything on my behalf, because not that I can do anything by myself. I live and I long for only him. He's faithful to me more than all friends that I've ever had in this world.
I take him as my father, as my provider, because I don't lack anything with him. Wherever I go wrong, he always counsels me and I cool down. He gives me protection wherever I go, and in whatever I do, he always guides me.
He came on this earth and he saved me. He died on the cross. He was beaten because of me, and all my sins were taken away.
Jesus is my savior because he saves people.
Jesus has done tremendous work in my life. I lost my father, then I came to this school.
and I've seen Jesus I've seen Jesus manifesting in my life. Jesus is my hope.
Jesus is my hope because he died for our sins.
I'm glad to be created in God's image. And in my daddy's absence, he has been my dad. And he always protects me. So I'm glad to have Jesus in my life.
Have you ever seen the wonder in the glimmer of her sight?
Jesus is my way, the truth, and the life. To me, Jesus works in tremendous ways, in very mysterious ways. Jesus means a lot to me. In my life, I've seen him work, I've seen him manifest. In my education, he has done more than I expected. Jesus is the light, even when we reach our dark times, when it is so much dark, when in our lives we cannot see, when we don't have someone to help. He is always our help. He is always our comforter. When we need him, when we need friends, he is more than a friend.
Jesus is my helper. He helped me for everything, even school fees, even everything I do. He's my promoter. He promoting many things. I see many things working in my life.
Jesus is my hope, and every time I lay down my head, I just think of him being my hope. When I was young, I had very many health problems, but I thank God that I had his hope and now I'm alive.
Jesus comes in and then he brings new words. Then he says, we are God's children, we are beautiful, we are smart, intelligent, and we are a hearer of God. So with that, I'm encouraged because I have perfect counselor.
Jesus is my provider, he's my all in all, he's my comforter, he's my counselor. In those days of distress, when I have nothing, when I'm lacking, I always call unto the Lord and he hears me. And he always has a solution to me, to give to me in whatever that I'm facing. To those ones who feel like God has abandoned them, God is there, he's just waiting for the perfect moment so that he can use you. It doesn't matter what you are, where you come from, God wants to use you, God wants to know what you are. It's just you to stay focused on him when he will use you.
I see the world in freedom. I see Jesus' way. You're the wonder in the wild. To the wilderness to wonder. You're the wonder in the wild. To the wilderness to wonder.
Some really beautiful faces, huh? You know, Simone's Kids really tries to instill in our students that we are not their hope. Simone's Kids is not the one saving them, that Jesus is their hope. And that video really touches in on the heart of that. That's what we're trying to accomplish, ultimately, and that's what we're accomplishing. Tonight, I want to invite you to be a part of the Village. The Village is a group of contributors that will be giving on a monthly basis. The monthly basis will be going into the scholarship fund, and we have a 100% child promise, which promises all donations given to the children's scholarships are given to the children. We named it the Village because we believe it takes a village to raise a child. And we're inviting you tonight to become a part of that. If you want to join the Village tonight, and you decide to do that, you can go to one of the tables in the back that Miss Katie will be at to give you a picture and information about a child that will be receiving a scholarship because of you and others giving. In a few moments also, Mason's going to come back on the screen and he's going to give you guys information on how to make the pledge or to give tonight. Right now, I want to end with a story that I told several years ago that I felt like I should tell again. So, In 2013, we lost one of the children. His name was Henry. In 2012, I traveled to Uganda with my husband, and we lived there for a couple months. And we recognized a child that was clearly malnourished, and so we got him checked out medically. This was before the medical clinic. And we found out that he had AIDS and tuberculosis. And we really were able to take care of him and love on him. And then in 2013, when we found out he passed, while we were not there, we were really brokenhearted. And I don't know if I've ever shared this, but I was with my mom when I found out, and I told her I can't do it. I can't do this ministry anymore. And it was really hard to get back up. I was really depressed for a while. But this story is so important to show that God reminded me that what's really most important is that we were there for Henry, who had been abandoned, that was an orphan. And before we left, he told us that he loved us. In his eyes, I saw something I'd never seen before. His eyes turned from darkness to a light of joy, even though his situations were still very terrible. And that's why I keep doing it, because there's a lot of children out there that we still haven't reached, and children in our program that still haven't got it. Their eyes haven't turned from that darkness to lightness. So I encourage you tonight to join us, to join me, and help more children find that light. I would like for everyone to take a moment to close your eyes. If you're with your spouse, if you can take your spouse's hand. And I'm going to pause for a couple seconds, and it will be a couple minutes, couple seconds of silence. I simply want you to ask in your mind what amount God is asking you to give tonight, on a one-time basis or a monthly basis. And whatever pops in your head, I encourage you to give that. I encourage you to trust Him. And don't think beyond that. And I want to leave you with this before Mason comes on the screen. Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela said that. He also said it's always impossible until it's done. My question to you is, will you make the impossible a reality by changing a child's world? Thank you.
Okay, everyone, I hope you still have that number in your head that Simone asked you to think about. If you could please take out your phones at this time and send that amount in a text to 785-572-4665. That phone number, along with some instructions, should be appearing on the screens. Once again, that number is 785-572-4665. Once you send in that text, you should receive a link that will take you to our donation and pledge page. On that page, you'll see an option called Pledge/Hard Check. If you do not want your donation to process tonight, but you still want to make a pledge, please select that option. If you don't want to use the online form, please use the pledge cards that are on the tables in front of you. There should be some volunteers walking around right now to assist you in filling out those cards should you have any questions. You know, Simone, each time I hear you speak, I realize how blessed we are to have you as a leader. I'm so thankful that God guided your heart to Uganda, and that Simone's Kids is what it is today because of all your efforts. More than just a founder and a president, you really are a light and inspiration to each person that you come in contact with. On behalf of all the Simone's Kids staff here in Uganda and in the States, I just want to say thank you for your continued leadership and for following that call that God placed on your life at such an early age. At this time, I'd like to remind everyone in person and online that our online auction is going to be ending tonight at midnight. Please be on the lookout for how much we've raised tonight. We really can't wait to share that information with you guys. In closing, I would like to quote Winston Churchill. He said, "We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give." Thank you all so much for being a part of this special evening and celebrating 10 years of Simone's Kids. I truly can't wait to see what the next 10 years are going to bring. Good night, everybody. Stay safe and God bless.